Thanks for watching. Today's video is from the Pure by NB Open. A lot of pros came out to play in this big event on the Kaizen Prep Tour here at Rec Park in Long Beach, including this pro here, a guy called Brett Lederer, who is known as one of the best wedge players in California. There's an awesome shot that Brett hit there, and here it is again in slow motion. Brett let me follow him around for the round, and later on in the channel you're going to see a full vlog of the round of golf that I got to follow a couple of players around. John Mallinger from the PGA Tour was there as well. This video is about 3 straightforward and actionable tips that Brett gave us that you can put into play right away to help your game. The first video is going to be about when and how to putt from the fringe. So Brett, 3 holes in a row, had shots from the fringe, and 3 times he used his putter, which I thought was interesting because he's one of the best wedge players around, but he was still using his putter. So I wanted to get into his head about why he was doing that, and then also the technique of how to build that into your game, and then when and why to use it. So here's Brett on this very interesting technique, and then we'll get into the other ones. Brett, as one of the best wedge players in the area, you putted it from here, and I was saying to my friend, that looks like an area you wouldn't want to putt it from. What was the thought process in deciding to putt that, not wedge it?
Yeah, so my theory is putt it unless there's a reason not to, and so there could be many reasons not to. If it's thick or sticky or it's a lot of rough or something, then you wouldn't putt it. But and also a reason for me, like I put on the last hole where a lot of guys would chip it. And a big part of it is the greens are so soft and sticky right now, and I'm not a big like 9-iron, 8-iron guy, and part of the reason I don't hit many 9 and 8-irons is because when most guys would, I'll just putt it.
So you're saying if you had gotten the ball 5 feet in the air, you don't know how soft it would have landed.
Right, I like to hit the low spinner chip, and I feel like they're so soft it might not bounce, and then if it does bounce, it's just the greens being as soft as they are is unpredictable. So if it was rock hard, I'm more comfortable chipping it because you kind of know what's coming. If you were gonna chip it, I'd recommend kind of like a hook sensation where you're trying to get that thing running out a lot. But I think I tell people all the time, like putting from off the green is something you can get better at, and it's also a skill, and no one practices it. If you go to like a tour event, you'll see, you'll have a drop off, and you'll see the tour guys down here punt short-sided or chipping, and they might chip a couple and be like, no, that's too hard, and they're putting. But what they're doing is they're practicing putting from off the green, which you never see amateurs do. And I've done a lot, and I tell people all the time, just start putting from off the green, you can get better at it. So where your average guy might not chip it very well, but he also doesn't want to putt it because he's never done it or he's never practiced it. But it's a lot safer shot than, I think the last 2 holes I putted from the fringe or the fairway, whatever you want to call it, and I got them both up and down. And I'm a decent chipper, where you have a lot of amateurs who aren't good chippers and they'll still try to chip it, and they try to chip it and they hit a bad chip. And part of the reason you never see pros hit horrible chips is when it's a tough chip or they have a bad lie, they're not chipping it. They're finding another way to do it.
The final thing is, when you're putting from off the green and you have like 3 steps of fairway and then green, what are you using to gauge your speed? Are you more thinking about the green, or are you more thinking about how fast you want it to get out of the fringe?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's interesting, like the pins, on the left side of the green, I'm on the right side of the green. So I got a good 40, 50 feet of green. So because of that, I'm hitting it so hard early. So the ball that's rolling through the fringe in this scenario is rolling so hard that the longer grass or the kikuya or the fringe or the fairway isn't going to affect it as much. So I'd actually be more likely to chip that ball if I was short-sided. Because if I'm short-sided, I can't hit it very hard, so the ball's moving slower through the fringe, so it's more likely to get a bad bounce from
it's kind of zipping on top of the grass when you're
it's more susceptible to bouncing weird. But because the pin's way over there, I can kind of belt it through this long grass, and the harder you hit it through the long grass, it's going to get through, it's going to roll nicely. So short-sided, I may chip it, and longer, I rather putt it than use a mat iron.
Keep it on the ground.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Great drive.
Did any of you guys?
Yeah, I was having a thing for a while where I was shanking downhill shots like you had here. I mean, that's not too extreme, but on this hole, I used to hit it to the downslope and always shank it over here.
If you were doing that, it would probably be because with downslopes just kind of making you go that way so much, and just kind of probably carrying your hands out. Especially if the ball is like below your feet, you probably want to go that way. Or if you were uphill, it's easier to kind of stay back and go with the hill. So it's mostly in the setup still, but like you just don't want to. If you set up too neutral, you're gonna kind of want to find the hill and go out with it. Opposed to if you kind of set up over there, it's a little easier to do what you're trying to do. Same thing on the uphill. You don't want to fight it too much. So the uphill, if you lean too into it, you're gonna stick in the ground, which sometimes isn't the end of the world. But uphill lie, you probably just want to take more club and kind of be easy with it.
So you're saying on like an uneven lie, like if there was a scale under your feet, you would want to feel like you're leaving the same amount of weight throughout the swing. In the same spot, not like shifting around as much as you would on
and the downhill one, you'd for sure start with way more weight on your lead foot
and just feel like you leave it there.
Stay there. So you don't want to fall back and try to scoop it up in the air. You don't want to fight the hill. So if you need to hit it high off a downhill lie, you're in trouble. But if you have a wedge and you have the luxury of keeping it low, then you're good to go.
Great shot.
Best wedge player in Long Beach. That would be a great announcer. Very blunt.
Beauty. So Brett, what's your key? Because we saw you make that 4-foot putt or so. What's your key on making putts, especially on bumpy greens, short putts?
Yeah, it sounds like cliche, but it's almost interesting. Like I don't practice anymore, but so like the more simple you can make it, where all you're doing is reading the green to your best ability. So like I like to pick out an exact spot. We have this number system we use with Jamie Mulligan and myself, all our guys. But
a number system like on faced on a clock, you mean?
No, it's like 4.5 would be the middle of the hole, 4 would be the left edge, and 5 is the right edge. It's like a cup out on the left edge would be a 3, and a cup out on the right edge would be a 6. And we just use that to communicate, like whether we're counting for someone or we're talking about a putt. And the point of that is to just get really specific with it. And I like it because instead of like, you'll hear like left edge-ish, well, like, on a 4-footer, left edge-ish, it's too big. So like that last putt I hit,
exactly.
I was thinking 4.2, which is like, if you dissected it, would be just a hair left to left center.
Right, so because 4.5 is in the middle.
Yeah, and like not thinking about stroke at all. So now that's my line. It's uphill and the greens are slow. So my tendency, there's no possible way I'm gonna hit it too firm. Like there's like my body and my mind won't let me hit that even a foot past. So I'm thinking hit it hard, just knowing the greens are slow and it's uphill. So I'm thinking like 4.2. So I got my line, and then I'm just thinking kind of firm on that.
Numbers wise, what would be a little right? Would be like a 4.0 or a
4.0 would be the left edge, and like the 4.0 would be like the balls on the left edge, and 5.0 would be on the right edge. And the reason we do like 4.5 is dead middle, just so you have some room to go to the left.
Okay.
So yeah, I like it a lot on the straighter putts. If you have like a 6-footer that breaks a couple feet, it's probably not the best, because I think that putt you gotta more see it and feel it. But
for somebody who's having like a mental problem making those short putts, especially in tournaments, you think having some kind of system where you're not thinking about how you're stroking it, but like, okay, let me just execute a 4.2 or whatever, however you put it.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone that's struggling on the little ones is just, you know, mentally a block, and they're thinking about their stroke, or where everyone should be athletic enough where if you're freed up enough to just think, if you can pick out a blade of grass and just try to draw a straight line and roll it on that straight line and make it that simple, you're probably going to be better off. And I mean, if you got the yip so bad or your stroke so bad, I mean, might be a different scenario. But like for me, I'm just trying to draw a straight line in my mind to that blade of grass. That's a 4.2. And just trying to, I used to do a lot of chalk line stuff, so I'm just trying to draw a chalk line to there, and in my mind, and just roll
it'll break off the chalk line,
roll it down that line, make it that simple. So I'm just trying to roll it down that chalk line, and that's it.